The member for Dawson.
Well, thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Development. Will the Deputy PM inform the House how the Morrison-McCormick government's strong budget is creating stability and certainty in the delivery of national infrastructure, including for regional Australians like those in my electorate of Dawson?
The Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Dawson for his question. $1.9 billion road and rail package for Queensland, boosting the economy and creating jobs and certainly helping Dawson. That was what happened last week, Mr Speaker, when the Prime Minister, the member for Moncrieff, the member for Ford and I were at the M1 motorway by there and announcing the Queensland package. This government will bring forward nearly $650 million in funding and provide more than $680 million in new funding, with the Queensland government committing a little bit over $600 million. The package includes 20 critical infrastructure projects. For example, $225.6 million for Bruce Highway upgrades. I know how important that is for the member for Dawson. That's 1,652 kilometre road between Brisbane and Cairns, $118.5 million for roads of strategic importance upgrades. Now, in the member for Dawson's electorate, I know he had a rather novel way of putting forward his case for the Mackay Ring Road. Now, once unseen, it cannot be. Once seen, it cannot be unseen. But by George, we're going to put a ring on it. The Mackay Ring Road, $51 million for that particular project, fast-tracked. Now, I wouldn't urge and encourage members to go and look at George's novel way of trying to get encouragement for that, and I don't want anybody else to bring forward those sorts of initiatives to get infrastructure funding. Now, the member for Moncrieff and I stood beside at the platform of the light rail for the Gold Coast to Burleigh project, Mr Speaker. 6.7 kilometres. We're investing $157 million of new funding. And as we were there and we'd made the announcement, it was a great announcement. This woman bounded across the road, and we've all had them. You think, what on earth is she going to come up and talk to me about? And she said, and she's buttonholed me, and she said, finally, we've got governments coming together to build this important piece of infrastructure. The restaurant precinct that people will be able to visit. It's going to be good for tourists. It's going to be good for the economy. It's going to be good for jobs.
Member for Morton.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. Thank you, local member Angie Bell, she said. Now, in Tasmania, we've brought forward a $173 million package of projects, $95 million of which will be spent over the next 18 months. Now, they include $46.4 million for Bass Highway corridor improvements, $45 million for the Hobart to Sorell corridor, including the Hobart Airport Exchange. But the value that you see in these sorts of projects are getting people to where they need to be sooner and safer, helping tradies in their utes getting to their jobs quicker, helping the school bus getting to school safer. They're all aspects of what we do when we build infrastructure. So we thank the state governments for getting on board with our $100 billion national infrastructure program, and there's more to come.